Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I'd really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you like this watch, you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing an extraordinarily rare Panerai Special Series model from the 2001 Special Series model year. This is the Panerai Radiomir Seconds Counter PAM 78, a 2001 series of 75 pieces, 42 millimeters in white gold. I would describe this as a Panerai for non-Panerai people. Now, if you are Paneristi, or I should say you are a Paneristo, and a member of the Paneristi, you might find that this is an appealing watch because as scarce as it is, it's a timepiece you can add as a trophy to the collection, the one no one else on Paneristi.com will have. I will also say that if you're into movements and you like fine watches, and perhaps the Panerai mantra of combat instruments for the wrist doesn't quite appeal to you, this is probably the most moderately sized, technically intriguing, and dress-oriented Panerai of the early 2000s. Let's talk about how it feels and how it fits. 42 millimeters entirely in white gold. It sits easily as the case size feels smaller than 42. It's a 42 millimeter cushion, so the timepiece is 42 wide, 42 tall, and even if you include the wire lugs, it's still only 50.5 millimeters across the wrist. The lugs are almost not there, and they don't extend the watch itself over the edge of the wrist. So I would say this is a Panerai that you can wear on a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters in circumference with confidence. It's also not that thick. At 13.1 millimeters thick with a generously sloped case flank and conical bezel, it will slide underneath a dress cuff. This is a timepiece that has impressive mass on the wrist despite its smaller dimensions. That comes from the white gold case, and the strap itself is probably more massive than it has to be. The strap feels Panerai. The case itself feels a little bit distinct from the brand's norm, but the strap is massive. Medium rectangular scale alligator leather. I would say it's a reddish brown with a contrasting stitch. Most Panerai straps are rubber or calfskin. This one's the upscale alligator leather. You can see it's a sheer side that shows you the layers of construction. On the underside, it's a rich calfskin, and it features an upscale and unusual wire-style Radiomir pin buckle. You'll note the gorgeous undulating curve of the pin itself with Panerai engraved atop. Attention to detail is strong with this one. You'll also note the total absence of the brutal trapezoidal-style pin buckle that's more commonly specified on Panerai watches. Now, of course, as with most Radiomir, the PAM 21 accepted, you use these mounting screws within the case to remove the wire-style lugs so you can swap straps if you like, and if you like, you will find the 24 millimeter lug spacing is the proper size for this watch. Let's get a bit closer, give ourselves a bit more light, and you'll be able to see that this timepiece is wonderfully subtle. There's not a whole lot going on. For a complication, it's incredibly minimalist, and if it weren't for the mono pusher at 2 o'clock, you could even miss the fact that this is a chronograph. But the bezel, which you can see features a tachymeter scale, is used in conjunction with the seconds-only chronograph register of the dial to gauge the speed of an object, and as you can see, calibrated to 400 units, the speed of a very fast object between 2 points, such as the beginning and the end of a standing kilometer. The dial is surprisingly nuanced. It's a matte black with applique indices, and you'll note tri-Arabics, 12, 9, and 6 in the characteristic Panerai fashion. Those are the only printed aspects of the numeral indices. So the indices all loomed, the hands at center also loomed. This is a Luminova era L-signed Panerai dial, so there will be a lume shot at the end of the video. It's not one of the tritium watches, you can still see it. Splashes of color in the key lime of the Luminova as well as the blue of the Arabic numeral minutes and seconds outboard of the hours. The timepiece does feature an inverted Cyclops eye magnifier for the date. You'll note it doesn't protrude above the crystal as on a Rolex. It's underneath, it's underslung. That's actually how I prefer to have my magnifiers, and it makes reading the date a little easier. Now, the movement features an old school quickset where you have to back the hour hand across midnight back and forth repeatedly to advance the hour. And the reason for that is that this is a very old movement. It is a new old stock vintage Omega 920. That's right, the same Omega 920 you would have seen on the old Chronostop chronograph. And the watch works in the same fashion. As you stop, release, and reset the seconds register, all with one action. So it's not even a conventional mono pusher in the sense that a mono pusher will start, stop, and reset. This one starts, stops, and resets. It's one action. So the second you're done, you reset it. The timepiece features a beautifully elaborated version of that old Omega movement. Now, this is finer than you'll see in any chronostop. Panerai did pull out all of the stops, pun intended, to develop the look of the movement to make it more attractive. You can see rich Côte de Genève, machine applied but still attractive. Blued screws, they are the chemical variety. As you can see, their slots are bare, but they add an element of color and richness. You'll also note that a machined bevel has been added to the edge of the bridges and the levers. Altogether, this is more attention paid to a single movement than Omega probably lavished on every Chronostop 920 and 865 caliber ever made. Now, you will note there are some superficial similarities to the Lamagna base in the Moonwatch, and that's not unwarranted. They do have some features and structures in common, but they are not the same movement stripped down. This one is distinctly different in size. What is the same is that it's a manual winder, 17 joules like the early 861s. It features a 21,600 vibration per hour beat rate, and you'll note that everything is laid bare. You can see the lateral clutch of the chronograph, and you can see the recentering hammers on the heart cam at center. In fact, you can actually see a great deal of the heart cam on the chronograph center wheel, because this movement, big, open, and old school, basically lets you see everything going on. You can even see the driving wheel of the chronograph being driven off the fourth wheel of the drivetrain for the going train for the time of day. Now, manual wind, 40 to 42 hour power reserve, and you will note 100 meters water resistant. The timepiece does feature a screw down crown. So although it's a bit finer in style and composition than a standard Radiomir, nevertheless you put this one on a Panerai rubber strap and it's as aquatic as most of its Panerai brethren. It's still a sports watch to be sure, and that Panerai caliber based on the old 920 is as tank tough as the movement on which it's based. It just looks a whole lot finer. One of 75 pieces made in 2001, it had a retail price of over $32,500 back in the day. A rare piece. This is the first I've seen. I don't expect to see a second. One shot. It's like the best dish at Thanksgiving dinner. Get yours the first time it comes around, because there ain't going to be seconds. See it and make it yours on the Watchbox. And I'm back with the Panerai Radiomir Seconds Counter PAM 78. As you can see, the Luminova dials are more usable. Older Panerai tritium dials may be charming, but if you want to use your watch as a watch, Luminova is the way to go. Now, while I don't recommend running a lateral clutch chronograph continuously, it has been mentioned by various collectors of the brand that you can use this feature as effectively a hacking seconds function to have central seconds, hours, and minutes all arrayed on your watch face. It works, though I would recommend stopping the chronograph when you put it down for the night at bedside. Don't run it full time, but in a way, you could sort of use it as hacking central seconds. See it and decide for yourself on the Watchbox.